Hey buddies, Mr. Puggy here, coming at you with another Wonderlands video. Today I want to go over the new spell that just came out for DLC 2 by the name of Bolt Lash. Now, Bolt Lash is a very interesting spell that allows you to easily put in arrows onto targets, and then these arrows will explode and fire arrows to nearby enemies. And it's worded a little bit weird because it functions a little bit differently than how you would normally think it would function. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on Twitch on the top right. You have no idea how much helps me out. And let's get into the video.
Legendary? Whoa! No way, dude!
First things first, this is a dedicated drop from the third form of the boss of the DLC 2, which will be coming out on June 2nd, but it's also able to be gotten from the Wheel of Fate, so make sure to farm up those souls and spin the wheel if you're looking for this particular item. It should be also added to the world drop loot pool once we defeat the third form of the boss, but pretty much what this item does is every single time you hold it down, it's going to be a repeating cast every single time you get it, which means it's going to shoot up to 5 total arrows, and these arrows are able to ricochet off the surfaces only once. So if I say were to ricochet off here, and then once it hits a house, it'll only ricochet that once. But the ricocheting part isn't really that useful because most of the time you'll be looking to aim directly at your enemy. Now, the wording of this item is a bit weird. The reason why this is weird is because it kind of makes you think that once a target's struck with 3 arrows, every single arrow will make it explode and fire those arrows to nearby enemies. That is not true. And it's also not going to proc this every time you hit the enemy the third time. It's actually going to proc on the third hit, and then if you continue to fire the Bolt Lash, it's going to proc every 2 hits as long as you have the arrows on the enemy, which is a bit bizarre, but let me show you what I mean by going over to the Parasite boss. It's also worded to say that it fires arrows at nearby enemies, but it only fires 1 enemy to a total of 3 nearby targets as far as I'm aware. So as you see here, here's a couple of targets. So I'm going to hit the boss 3 times, and we're going to hopefully find the arrow ricocheted to multiple targets. So right there, it hit 1 target. It looks like 1 arrow also hit the ground and went immediately up. Now, as I said before, it seems to have a weird number of hits until it procs once you get the 3 arrows on the Parasite. Let me show you exactly what I mean. So I have 3 arrows on the Parasite. Now, every 2 hits is going to proc the Bolt Lash, as you saw there, which means you don't need to hit the enemy 3 times for it to proc every single time. Once you have the 3 arrows on them, you only need to hit the enemy 2 more times with the Bolt Lash to get the arrows to proc again, which is a bit bizarre in my opinion. Now, despite this spell being actually really cool, I think the damage is honestly really bad. It seems more like a setup tool than anything because it synergizes with a certain item I'll be talking about in a bit. But the damage, even if I try to optimize spell damage, isn't really that great, unfortunately. But it seems to do a decent bit of damage when you hit crits, but, you know, that's every item, technically. The reason why I say it's possibly mainly supposed to be used as a setup tool is because we can use a certain new item in the DLC 2 by the name of Barbo Load, which has this thing that says attacks have a 19% chance to fire attached cross bolts to nearby enemies and refund a portion of ammo. You could essentially get a bunch of arrows on these targets, which counts as cross bolts, and have easy access to have a bunch of different arrows on these targets, allowing you to ricochet a bunch of different arrows to multiple different targets very, very quickly. So because of this, it does seem more like a combo piece more than anything for that particular amulet. But in theory, like as you see here, we got a bunch of different crossbolts going all over the place because we have a bunch of different dots, and we applied the ethereal arrows on these targets, which means they were able to proc the whatever the amulet's called. I can't think of the name right now. But you could, in theory, actually just hit the targets with, you know, a crossbolt gun instead of using the Bolt Lash, and then still use, like, I don't know, like a Buffmeister. So it seems kind of niche in my opinion, but it's nice to have an alternate setup tool for that amulet. And I can go more in depth on how this amulet works, but that'll be more elaborated on the video on the top right, because I want to cover each item for the DLC 2 more in depth on their own video, because it calculates its damage in a little bit bizarre way I wasn't expecting, honestly. But as always, a big shout out to the members who make these videos possible. We have Jace Noodles, Clairvoyance, Rick and Glacius, Josh Dig, 31 Bar 70, Grey Wolf, Wishkeeper, and Super Noob. These are the people who support me as little as $5 a month, and you can also support me as little as $5 a month by clicking the link in the comments description or in the top right to become a member. The more members we have, the closer I get to becoming full-time, which means more videos for you guys. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye.
And the last shall be first to immerse in a pass out heat, facing him up with a moxie melt till he woke up drowning in tchotchke hell. War in a cave with a torch on a wall, then a window arrangement of porcelain dolls.